Changing cities. Let's start with some key concepts. You can characterize where you live in a lot of different ways, but the two main ways is either rural or urban. Rural areas are agricultural. They typically have a small population size with low population density. That low population means that the customer base isn't that vast, so companies will seldom invest in rural areas, meaning your choice in terms of shopping and medical services will be much smaller. This lack of vigorous economic stimulation means that you'll have lower wages and poverty, though the cost of living will be low. Rural areas typically have an aging population, and there will be an abundance of nature and natural resources, farming and ranch land. And those are characteristics of a rural area. Urban, on the other hand, is very different, opposite in fact. Urban areas are very commercialized. Their mass production of goods and services means that many people want to live there, so the population size and density is high. With such a large amount of people comes an irresistible appeal for companies to invest, giving them a much greater variety in terms of shopping and medical services. This high energy economy means that wages will be higher, but poverty will remain present. This competition and high demand increases the cost of living and will thus create a typically able-bodied working population, with an abundance of skyscrapers, shopping malls, fast foods, parks, imported goods, and of course, traffic. And those are the characteristics of urban areas. Side by side, we can see the advantages and disadvantages of each. For rural, you can expect low wages and fewer job opportunities, limited access to services such as healthcare and education, poor living conditions, and crop failure and famine due to natural disasters. While in urban areas, you can expect high wages and more job opportunities, better access to healthcare and education, improved standard of living, and more entertainment. These reasons can be defined as either push or pull factors. I made a video about this topic earlier if you'd like more information. The main factors that people consider are jobs and wages, entertainment, transport, and standard of living. There is a greater outcome in all of these factors in urban areas as opposed to rural areas, which fuels lots of migration from the slow rural area to the more exciting and fast-paced urban areas. We call this shift urbanization. I made a video on this topic earlier if you'd like more information. The rate of urbanization depends largely on how appealing the jobs, wages, entertainment, and standard of living are in the area. In the northeast of the UK, there is much less of these four factors, and thus urbanization is slower. In the southeast, there is more of these four factors, and thus urbanization is faster. And these trends in the rate of urbanization caused by more attractive pull factors explain trends in unemployment quite nicely, as seen from this category map of the UK's unemployment figures from September 2017. While this map reflects the rate of urbanization, it isn't the most practical map since using hard lines and solid colours hides extremes, density variations, and any concept of distribution. Alternative GIS maps that could display unemployment data could be cluster maps, which provide a great visualization of scale, or heat maps, which show density very well. In any case, mapping unemployment is useful to measure the growth and decline within each of the four industry sectors: primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary, allowing a better understanding of how a city is changing. The primary sector deals with harvesting raw natural resources such as mining, forestry, and fishing. The second sector deals with making things from those raw natural resources, such as production and manufacturing. The tertiary sector deals with services such as retail, teaching, or cooking. And the quaternary sector deals with research and development, such as genetic research or improvements to the information and communications technology, or ICT. To illustrate, let's look at silicone, an industrial sand that is used to make microchips. Harvesting the silicone is the primary sector. Manufacturing it into microchips is the secondary sector. Selling it as a product is the tertiary sector, and working on improving the specs is the quaternary sector. Being able to map out changes within these four sectors foreshadows impacts on events like deindustrialization and unemployment. For example, if you have an area that boasts decent employment data, you can see it as a positive. But if we start to see all of those sectors dip, you can project the possible negative consequences that could arise from it. Consequences like loss of income due to rising unemployment, that rise in unemployment meaning less income and, by extension, less income taxes, which means the government can suffer by losing out on those taxes. Greater unemployment, which is inevitably going to lead to lower standard of living and quality of life. And as unemployment and all of its associated challenges begin to rise, there will be less disposable income per household, meaning there will be less customer spending, leading to a weaker local economy. Areas that suffer from low unemployment, a decline in standard of living or quality of life, try and address these issues through a series of strategies. These strategies to maintaining challenges in urban environments can either be a top-down approach or a bottom-up approach. For more information, please read this resource, link also in the description. When these strategies improve an area, they are likely to promote migration. Migration, which comes in 4 types: economic migration, moving for work; social migration, moving for community; political migration, moving for peace; and environmental migration, moving for calm. The growth of heavy immigration into an area has lots of positive and negative impacts on the host country. Negative impacts could include a growth in population, which can put pressure on services, housing, and infrastructure, as they now need to cater to more people. Friction may develop between the host population and the migrant population. Migrant groups may not assimilate into local communities. And there could be a gender imbalance, since usually more men migrate than women. This could lead to social issues down the line. Positive impacts, however, could include the skill gap being filled, the economy benefiting from an incoming hard-working workforce, public service benefits in the form of more workers in key fields like the NHS, government tax revenue increases as more income leads to more income tax. The culture can become enriched by introducing the host country with new cuisines and festivals, think of sushi and the Chinese New Year. And immigrant groups could boost the birth rate, which addresses the declining population in many Western countries. I encourage you to watch this clip for more information, link also in the description. While you're there, please view the case studies in the description. And that is Changing Cities. Thank you for watching. Please support the channel by clicking subscribe. Also, if you're interested in these resources, my PowerPoints will be for sale on my test store, link in the description.